There was a moment in that first week where it hit me. This journey is going to have many surprises and a lot of challenges. We did it. We sold our home, bringing our two dogs with us. We packed up everything and started our journey to RV life. Still figuring it out as we go. Hey everybody, I'm Mike, and this is Cozy Camper Chronicles, our journey to RV life. Told one stop, one lesson, and one unexpected moment at a time. It's not always smooth, it's not always pretty, but it's real RV living. So let's jump into it, shall we? So, after the first week, and once things started to settle down a bit, boxes were removed from the RV. Went ahead and recycled them. We started putting everything away where we know where it is now. Our routine really started to get crisper. We weren't really running into each other in our morning routines, and it was just starting to really kind of come together. We started to realize something really fast, and that is a lot of the things we didn't expect. One of the biggest surprises for us was how much the outside really comes inside. I'm talking dirt, pollen, dust, and every single time that door opens, something's coming in on it. Between us going in and out, the dogs going in and out, and even just having the door open and the wind's coming in, it adds up way faster than you can possibly think of. And in a smaller space, you don't have the luxury of just ignoring it. In a house, you might not notice it right away. I mean, for us, we would use the garage, and yeah, the garage would get a little dusty and a little dirty, but as soon as we walked in, we didn't really realize how much or how little dirt and stuff like that came in. But now that we're in the RV, you see it almost instantly. We went from cleaning the house once a week to now it's every 2 to 3 days maximum just to stay ahead of it. And it's not so much of a just a quick sweep. We've got a whole routine now, and we're using the duster for all the surfaces. We have a broom. We have dustpan for the floors. And then we have to go back over it and use a wet mop even after we swept. Because if you don't, it just kind of keeps building up. And all those dust bunnies just find ways to get in every little nook and cranny and corner. And you think that you swept once was good enough, and then you look back and you miss a couple of dust bunnies running around. And for us, then we have to add our dogs into it. And dog hair gets everywhere. Rugs, furniture, places you didn't even expect. In So now we decided we needed a specialized tool just to remove the dog hair from the rugs and the furniture. And it sounds like a small thing, but it's one of those everyday adjustments that just kind of becomes part of our normal. The second surprise for us was how quick our tanks fill up. And when we were just weekend camping, it really wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, we would only be camping 2, maybe 3 days out of the whole week. And we really didn't have to dump any of our tanks at that time. We would dump it after we left or right before we left, and it was fine. It was good to go. But now that we're living in it full time, that changes everything. It's not something that you deal with at the end of the week. It's every day you're constantly thinking how full those tanks are, how much water you're using, how long your showers are. You're just always just that little bit much more aware. And one of the things that we learned pretty quickly was those tank sensors, they are not reliable at all. We've watched it go from 0 to 50% to, oh, it's full, but we really didn't even use that much water. And other times it was kept reading 0, and Jan and I, we both took showers, we just did the dishes, and it was still reading 0. So my suggestion is definitely do not rely on your sensors. And sometimes they say you got some space, but you really don't. And we learned that the hard way. So Jan was actually taking a shower and I was sitting on the couch. And all of a sudden I start hearing this blub 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 sound. And I didn't really understand what that meant. So I got up, started looking around. I didn't see anything. And then I heard it again. And this time it was coming from our bathroom. So when I opened up the door in the bathroom, all of a sudden I started seeing water kind of spit out from our sink. And that's when it hit me. It it meant that the tank was full. So I had to quickly hurry up, not trip over the dogs, run outside, empty out the gray tank, and pull that lever hard, and just watched everything flow out. And that sticks with you. Now we don't even wait for the sensors. We've developed a rule, and that is every 3 days we're emptying our tanks. Whether we really used it or didn't really use it, it doesn't matter. After 3 days, tanks get emptied because once they're full, they will let you know very quickly. And it is not subtle at all. Then there's another kind of surprise, and it really is not about the RV itself, but how people responded to it. And so when we bought our house 11 years ago, it was nothing but congratulations. All good vibes, support. Wow, that is awesome. And no one really questioned our decisions on buying a house. It was just kind of like, yep, that's what we were supposed to do. We did it. And no one really had any negative feedback. But now, this decision to sell the house, to start living in the RV full time, the comments and the congratulations kind of stopped, and it's been very different. Now, when we start talking to our friends about what we've done, the reactions are more questions like, are you sure about that? And why would you do that? You had a perfectly good home. And it's not necessarily they're trying to be mean spirited or trying to do it from like a bad place. It's just that's not it's just not normal, I guess. And well, that's fine. I guess we're not normal anymore. And it's just not what people do. But what we didn't expect was how often we had to keep explaining it to our friends and our family. And it always felt like we were being more defensive about our decisions. And even sometimes the same people, I had to explain it multiple times on why we're doing it and how it made us feel by doing it. And for us, we're not questioning our decision anymore. This is it. We are doing it. And that question of, are we making the right decision? Well, yeah, that is our decision. And we stick with it. And we accept that some people just don't understand what we're trying to do. And that is perfectly fine. We don't let the negative responses affect us anymore. We know that this is our journey and it's not theirs. So by saying and by owning our journey, it makes us feel good about explaining what we're trying to do for people. So those were our top three surprises. And then, just like an RV should, it decided to throw in a challenge. And it was not very long into our second week, actually, that we ran into our first issue. And it started with the toilet, something that we use every day, multiple times a day. And it wasn't just a learning moment, it was something we had to fix as fast as possible. And every time that we flushed, water would come straight out of the foot pedal. It wasn't very much, but it was definitely noticeable. And by the time we actually noticed the problem, we had a small little stream. And one of the big problems of having water inside an RV is the chance for mold, the chance for it kind of seeping into the wood. And by the time we actually saw it, we knew right away it wasn't normal and we had to fix it as fast as possible. Well, our challenge just wasn't about fixing the toilet necessarily. It was about everything to even try to find the part. So, in a house, you can just run to the store, grab a part, fix it, move on. Out here in the RV life, it doesn't always quite work that way. And our issue that we discovered was something that the big box stores didn't carry. We needed to replace a valve. And of course, an RV toilet is not the same as a standard house toilet. So that valve had to be ordered. And so we decided we had to wait. And we waited. Dealing with the toilet, we put down towels and we tried not to flush as much until we actually got the part. So it reminded us that we needed to have a little bit more patience. And you can't just fix things right away. Sometimes you have to wait. You have to adapt and just kind of work on it and work around it until you manage to fix it. So when the part finally came in, we were surprised at one, what it actually looked like. And for two, now it was time to get the hands dirty and actually replace the valve. Well, the challenge then became of it was a tight space and the way the manufacturer of the RV had it, it was really difficult to get the valve out and get everything replaced. And it got a really frustrating. So I got my handy dandy toolbox and got to work. It was such a small space, I had to lay on the toilet itself and then try to do things somewhat blindly. And the first thing I had to do was take off this screw that was kind of holding everything together. Once I got the screw out, I had to decide how to take this thing apart. And I was struggling with trying to get it out at first, and then I really didn't know if I should work on the pipe or anything like that first. So I decided to go ahead and try to remove it from the pipe and try to work that way. And I was starting to make some progress. And then, just like a rookie making a rookie mistake, I forgot that our water pump was on. So I quickly grabbed some towels, hooked the line back up, and turned off the water pump. After cleaning up all the water on the floor, I got back to work. If you're wondering, I had to use the socket wrench as a pry bar to lift the hose up enough so I can unloosen the connection. It was definitely a pain, as expressed by... Come on. Always make sure you turn the water pump off if you have it. Otherwise, it does not become very fun. This thing is supposed to just click out. After some wiggling and jiggling and grunting, we have success. I win. One round. Alright. Time to take this part off. And now I'm back on the struggle bus again. Twisting, turning, pinching, pulling, you name it, I'm just trying to get this thing off. Until finally, a pop, and we have success. Woohoo! I quickly grabbed a towel and made sure no more water was in the line. And I kind of just let it drain out for a second. Then I wanted to get a good close-up look on what is actually going on, how many screws I was actually going to need, all that fun stuff. And then it was time to reassemble everything. By reassemble everything, what I meant was now it's time to get frustrated again by trying to figure out how to reassemble everything. I had to screw and tighten and loosen the hose and the valve a few times just to get everything to line up and snap into place. The pry bar, aka socket wrench, had to come back into play so I could tighten up the connection. Now a few twists with a screwdriver to secure the water line to the toilet, and finish it up with the ratchet. Now I have to replace the screws to make sure everything stays in place, and we will be ready for testing. Toilet handle moves and flushes. Check. No water seen or felt. Check. Double checking everything is working. Check and check. And that's it. We're done. But that moment was an awesome turning point for us because it wasn't just about running to the store, grabbing something, and fixing it quickly. It was about realizing that we are now fully invested and responsible for all of this now. So, if there's one thing that this has taught us, it's this. You don't have to have everything figured out before you start. You just have to be willing to figure it out as you go. Before we wrap up, here is tonight's fireside moment.
Sitting out here, you realize something. That change isn't necessarily the hardest part of a journey. It's everything that goes with it. The questions, the doubts, the unexpected moments. But it's these unexpected moments that really show you something. That you're more capable of doing things than you thought. And it doesn't have to make any sense to anyone else but you. Maybe that's what this journey is all about. Trusting you and the path that you've chosen, even when it looks a little different. Something to think about as the fire winds down tonight.
All right, we're going to park it here tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us. It really means a lot. And thank you for all the comments on the first two Chronicles. Next time, we're diving into some preventive maintenance. Come along on the journey with us, and we'll see you next Chronicle.